Hey everybody, Neil Thompson, founder of Teach the Geek here. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Every bit helps. I want to talk a bit about storytelling given or during a technical presentation and how you can go about doing it. When I worked as an engineer in the orthobiologic space, I used to have to do a lot of testing in the lab. And there was once a time when I did some testing and it didn't turn out the way I had hoped. So what can I do to introduce the story of me doing this testing and the testing not coming out the way I hoped if I wanted to tell the story in a technical presentation? Well, I mean, you could actually just call it out by saying, let me tell you a story, and then go right into the story. Or you could do what I really enjoy. And I actually do this in my writing too sometimes. I'll say, picture this. And I get the picture this from a show called The Golden Girls. It was very popular back in the 80s. I've probably seen every episode. One of the funniest shows ever. I doubt they could make those type of shows these days. But it was but it was a great show. And one of the characters, Sophia, she would often start her stories harkening back to her days in Sicily, saying, picture this, Sicily, 1925. And then she get right into her story. And that always stuck with me all these years later. So that's something you could definitely try. But here's an example from the story, or from the example that I gave. Let me tell you a story. I was doing testing in the lab on some bone samples. And I was looking to determine the concentration of a particular protein called bone morphogenetic protein 2 in these samples. And when I did the ELISA assay, ELISA standing for Enzyme-Linked Immunosorbent Assay, ELISA, I wasn't getting the results that I thought I would get. I was getting zeros, but I knew the BMP2, bone morphogenetic protein 2, in these samples. I just knew it. It's bone. It's going to have it. So I did a lot of research into why I was getting the results that I was getting. And it turns out, at least from one of the papers I read, it likely was due to what's called matrix effect, meaning other proteins that were in the samples were blocking the samples that I was trying to test for being read by the ELISA machine. And so I had to figure out a new way to test these samples, which I did. And now I'll show you the results from that testing as to what the actual BMP2 numbers were in those samples. See, I was able, and then you go right into the graph or table that you want to show with those sample numbers. See, I was able to tell the story of the testing, basically taking you through that arc of what was the problem and what I did to solve it. And when you tell these type of stories, especially to a non-technical audience, they're more likely to actually listen to what you have to say, as opposed to just launching into the graph or the table with the results, with the tables, or with the sample results. It's not as interesting. And so if you really want to do a good job of conveying the information, especially to a non-technical audience, storytelling is the way to go. And as I mentioned, you can do that by introducing the story as, let me tell you a story, or picture this. You're in a lab, you're doing testing, and the testing isn't going the way we want it to. What do you do? Well, I was in this exact situation. And then you go right into the story. People are going to perk up, because it's not typical that people would do something like this during a technical presentation. They tends to be quite dry. It tends to be just the presenting of the data and a whole lot of technical jargon, and then that's about it. And that's really difficult for a non-technical audience to really absorb. But if you use storytelling, it makes it a lot easier to do so. So try that out and let me know how it works out for you. Again, my name is Neil Thompson. I'm the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. And as always, remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, as every little bit helps. Until next time, take care.